Hey sports card fans, it's John, Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. One of the things that I enjoy most about creating content on YouTube are the comments that I get on my videos. Really enjoy the feedback, the interaction with those who have watched my videos, so I always appreciate getting comments on my videos, and some of those comments lead to suggestions for future content. This video is one specific example, and the concept for this video came from Mike Dunham. Mike, thank you for your comment. The last video I did for my 100 cards for $100,000, in which I showed off card number 25, reaching the milestone there of a quarter of the way to the 100 cards. Mike suggested that it would be cool to see all of the first 25 in one video. And I thought that was a great idea. So again, Mike, thank you for this suggestion. I've done 14 of these progress videos. Obviously, some of the videos I show off more than one card, but not everyone may have seen all of the progress videos up to this point, so they may not have had a chance to see a particular card or cards that I've picked up on my journey. So I'm going to be turning the camera around and show off all 25 cards that I have acquired up to this point on my goal for collecting as many as I can of these 100 cards for $100,000. So let's go take a look. Okay, I'm going to work my way back from the newest cards to the oldest cards of the 25, not necessarily the order that I picked them up. So we're going to start off with this really nice 1976 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 6. Of all Aaron's 70s cards, I think I like his 76 card the best. Just like the overall color scheme that Topps used in 76 for the different players and their teams. I just think these colors go great together, and it's a nice little hitting pose there of Hank Aaron. All right, next we have a card that I picked up at this past National in Atlantic City. It is the 75 Topps George Brett rookie card in a PSA 7. Just loved how these colors were just so bright on this card. Yeah, slightly off center, but overall no print marks. Just an absolutely gorgeous card. George Brett's rookie. Next we have the 75 Topps Hank Aaron. This one is in a PSA 6, really nicely centered. Again, no print marks that you often find on 75s, those little fish eyes and stuff. Pretty clean card. Again, I don't think it's the greatest image of Hank Aaron, but it's still a nice looking card. All right, next we have another Hank Aaron card. You'll notice a theme here between two main players, but it is his 1974 Topps. This is also in a PSA 6, the Hank Aaron new all-time home run king. This is card number 1 of the 74 set. Nice image there of Hank Aaron smiling. That there. And the last one in the first group is the 1973 Topps Kari Yastrzemski in a PSA 7. This one dogged me for a while trying to get a copy. I wanted to get one in a 7. In fact, I think this may have graded a little bit higher. There is a little, slight little stain down there, but it doesn't take away from the overall look of the card. Really happy to have picked this one up in a 7. All right, on to the next group of 5 is the 1973 Hank Aaron. Again, this is when he started playing first base from the outfield. Again, maybe not the greatest image of Hank Aaron there, but hey, still a Hank Aaron card, PSA 6. Nicely centered card, which is, again, what I'm looking for my vintage cards. Let's start a new pile over there. Next is a 72. Barry Yastrzemski in a 7.5. Was able to get, I think if I recall, a pretty good deal on this. Sometimes those half grades go unlooked in terms of eBay searches. They either, people are looking for a particular grade and they forget about the half grades. I think I got a pretty good deal. I think I paid on the 7.5, maybe what 7s were going for, maybe even a little bit less than that, but really sharp looking 72 Yastrzemski. All right, next we have another 72, and yes, it is of Hank Aaron. This is in a PSA 5. Again, the Hank Aaron cards, other than maybe those first early 6s, I started going down to 5s just because of the cost. And as you can see here, still was able to pick up a really nicely centered copy. This is one of the newer pickups, one of the most recent ones. The 72 was dogging me a little bit to try to find well-centered. The 72s seem to be another one of those years that often cards are off-center. Now that one is not a bad image of Hank Aaron. I mentioned the 76 is probably my favorite. This is probably my second favorite. Nice little batting stance pose picture of him. All right, next, one of my favorites, and I'm glad I was able to pick this one up off my list. It is the 71 Topps. Well, let's get that focused here. Come on. There we go. The 71 Topps Thurman Munson. Was able to pick this up. Pretty good deal. I think this was a buy it now or best offer. And went back and forth a couple times, if I remember correctly. When the seller sent this card in, I think he was hoping for a 7 based on the centering and corners and very little chipping on the card. Came back a 5, so I put it up at a buy it now reasonable price, but I think I put in a lower offer, and then we met somewhere in the middle, I think. So very nice card there. Not perfectly centered, but those 71 Munsons are really tough to find well-centered, especially left to right. So I think I did very good on that one. And then finally, we have another 71. This is the 71 Hank Aaron, again, in a 5. And for these Hank Aarons from the 70s, even the 60s, you'll notice, I think, some 4s here coming up. I have no problem dropping down 2 grades from the quote-unquote collector grade. Still, as you can see here, was able to find a really nice copy. Very little chipping there on the black border. Otherwise, really solid card there. Yeah, that image isn't bad. I maybe call this my third favorite from the 70s of Hank Aaron. All right, those are the first 10. We're on the next set of 5 here. And we have the 1970 Barry Yastrzemski. Managed to pick this one up in a 7. Really happy I was able to do that. Really nicely centered card for the 1970 there. All right, next is one that I picked up at, again, this past National in Atlantic City. This really sharp looking, for a 5, really sharp looking 1970 Thurman Munson rookie card. Probably slight little corner wear. Other than that, that thing is spot on in terms of centering. There is a little, print mark there down there, but I mainly, when I look at the card, I'm looking at the Thurman Munson half, so to speak, of the card. So really nice, crisp, clean 70 Thurman Munson rookie card. All right, going a little bit back a little bit further. Another card, again, picked up at this past year's National. I did a really good job at the National. I think there was either 5 or 6 I got the national off of, that I was able to check off this list here. And that's this really nice looking 69 tops Johnny Bench, the All-Star rookie, his second year card in a PSA 4. And again, if you look closely enough, you'll notice it. Yeah, there's some corner wear that makes it a 4. But again, another card that's really tough to find, well centered. And man, was I excited to see this copy and able to make a deal. I think I got it a little bit less, never pay sticker. So I was able to get the seller down a little bit, maybe not as much as I had hoped, but I think because of the centering, it was definitely worth buying it at the price we agreed upon. So really nice 69 Johnny Bench. The next one is one that was, I think, one of my earlier ones that I picked up on this list. It's the 69 tops Hank Aaron. I managed to get this one in a PSA 5. And again, that it was, came down to centering. You can see down there in that corner, there's a little ding there, which brought it down. But again, my key thing was trying to find one fairly well centered. And this definitely fit the bill there. This one may be, the more I look at some 69s, I'm wondering if that's maybe a little bit faded on the purple there. I don't know if other examples have a little bit darker color, but again, really happy with this Hank Aaron. All right, the last one of this third group here is the 68 Corey Yastrzemski in a PSA 7. Again, I'm trying to go for my Corey Yastrzemski run. I'm looking for that collector grade, but as you can see, a couple of these I managed to pick up in slightly higher grade. And again, still looking for that mixture between grade, centering, and price point. But this one fell into what I was able to spend at the time, and really happy to pick up this PSA 7 copy. All right, on to the next group of 5. Figured I'd divide the 25 into 5 groups to make things easy here. Is the 68 Hank Aaron. PSA 6. Managed to pick this one up in a collector grade. Again, overall centering, really nice. What's nice about the 68s is that you can pick up a well-centered card and it may get hammered because of the corners, but with the design, the border, that burlap border, unless you really look closely at the corners, they appear to be fairly sharp, the way that border is. So, but again, I was able to pick this one up in a PSA 6. So I'll start the next group down here. I think we can fit everything in. All right. And this next one here is another one of the earlier cards that I picked up. It is the 67 Corey Yastrzemski in a 6. Somewhat hard to come across, again, with my price point and the centering, but really happy to pick this one up here in a PSA 6. Really nice copy of that. All right, next is another 67. And again, if you're noticing a pattern here, if you're new to these videos, it's the 67 Hank Aaron. Now this one, of course, I had to drop down to a 5. There's no way I was going to get a collector grade. Again, within my budget, trying to save some money here where I can. And so, again, nicely centered 67 Hank Aaron in a PSA 5. Again, for a lot of these cards, maybe not the Yastrzemskis, it's more, not necessarily the number, it is centering and price point. What falls into the price point that I'm comfortable or able to pay at any given point in time. And so that's been my main criteria in picking up these cards on my 100 card list, is centering and primarily price point. Here you see the 65 Corey Yastrzemski, one of the newer ones that I added to this collection here. PSA 6. Again, it was another one that was hard to find. There were some examples out there, but a lot of them had buy it now prices that were way too high. I didn't want to pay those prices, and I finally picked one up. And the last one of this group was yet another that I picked up at this past National in Atlantic City. This one, I told a story. If you watch my recap videos, and when I showed this card off, come on, let's get it centered. There we go. The dealer had a PSA 4 and a PSA 5. And honestly, between the two, I could not see the difference between the 4 and 5. So of course I went with the 4 to save myself some money, and still came away with a really nice example of the Steve Carlton rookie card. I still pinch myself that I have some of these cards now in my collection. I may have told the story that when I was first into collecting cards in the late 70s, but really we're talking about maybe early to mid 80s. I still remember getting price guides, and even though I was collecting more of the quote-unquote modern cards at the time, buying packs and complete sets and things like that, I always would go back to the older cards that as I called them. I didn't know if I referred to them as vintage at the time, but just admiring some of those vintage cards and thinking, oh man, someday I would love to have some of these cards in my collection. Fast forward maybe from that period, maybe 30 years, and finally I get to have some of these cards in my collection. So really excited about this project in particular, but about my overall growing collection of vintage baseball cards. All right, sorry for that little tangent there. On to the last 5 of this recap video. And this actually happens to be card number 25 that I just showed off, the 64 Carl Yastrzemski in a PSA 6. This was an upgrade, my first upgrade of a vintage card. I did have this copy in a BVG 5, too off-center left to right for me to consider switching it over to PSA. And so I figured I'd do something with that card and go for just buy a PSA graded example, and was happy to find this one in a 6, again, well centered. So, yep, that fits there. And here's another one. I think these last, these next 2 are some of the final ones that I picked up at this year's National. It is the 58 Topps Hank Aaron white name version in a PSA 4. Yeah, a little off-center top to bottom, but doesn't bother me at all. I'd rather have, if there is going to be a little off-centering, I don't mind a little bit of extra border on the bottom. I don't know, it just gives it that extra look. I don't mind at all, but nice clean green background. Again, these 58s, I've seen a lot of them just through searches and stuff, and you'll see a lot of those little print dots, those circles, fish eyes, whatever you want to call them, spattering around the background there. But this is a nice clean, I don't want to say bright, but just a solid green color background. Love these 58s. I need to get more of these, but of course 58s aren't that cheap. But really happy to add this Hank Aaron to not only my Hank Aaron run, but to this 100 card list. All right, the last one that I picked up from the National wasn't one that I expected to pick up, but one that when I saw it, I had to make a deal for it, and I'm really glad I did. It is the 53 Bowman Color Pee Wee Reese. Yes, it's off-center left to right, but no creases, nothing whatsoever. And for a 2, I couldn't believe. I kept looking for, okay, why is this a 2? Where's there a crease or a pin mark or did something? And I think it's just the beat up corners here, especially on the left, and the off centering. I think that's why it got hammered down to a 2. But really, really glad I was able to add this to my list. Just an iconic card. The 53 Bowmans are just beautiful, and this one's a great example from that set. All right, two more to go. This next to last one, again, is one that I really hadn't focused on, and I knew it was on my list, but didn't think that I'd be able to pick it up, at least part of the first 25. Found this copy. Now, this one does have, if you look in the right angles, does have a few slight surface creases on it, but when you just look straight at it, you can't tell. And it is it's become one of my favorite vintage cards in my collection. And it is the 1950 Bowman Yogi Berra. Can't believe this is well, again, if you really, really look for the imperfections, you can see why it's a 2. But at first glance, man, that card looks great for a 2. Especially the registry. Some of the 50 Bowmans you can get where the registry is just off a little bit. Solid registry, nice colors, well centered. I just love this card. So this is the next to last one here in the recap, and the last one is one that I picked up. I don't go to too many shows. I know there are some shows around me. I just, for whatever, don't get a chance to go to some of the local shows. But I did head out earlier this year to the show out near Pittsburgh. Met up with some fellow YouTubers and picked this card up at the show. The 1949 Bowman Warren Spahn PSA 5. I got a great deal on it because of the smudging. It's not anything on the surface like someone spilled something or tried to erase something. I think just through the printing process, I think it just got just messed up a little bit on the coloring. But the thing that I liked about it is the registration. Again, on these 49s, you can get where some of the colors are just off and it just doesn't quite look right. Overall, nice red background there on that Warren Spahn. And otherwise, if this wasn't here, this 5 probably would have gone for, or the selling price would have been a lot more higher, maybe out of my price range at the time at the show. But was able to get a really nice deal on this 49 Bowman Spahn. So there you go. My recap of the first 25 cards on my 100 cards for $100,000. Mike, again, really appreciate your suggestion on doing this recap video. Again, I really love you guys commenting on my videos, also liking my videos, but really enjoy the comments, replying to the comments. It's the interaction between the fellow collectors and the videos and stuff that I really enjoy. So again, would love your comments on this recap video. Maybe what are some of your favorite cards out of this first 25? Yeah, so I guess that's it. That's all I have for you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.